everybody. Sorry I was not here yesterday, but I told you, we had to do a little procedure that required sedation, and that means a ride home. I was the ride home. Everybody's okay. My dog just had surgery today. He's okay too. But that means that I missed a day of fundraising for the Free Speech TV Spring Pledge Drive. So please make me look good today, and do $20 if you can, and make it recurring. If you will do that, then we will send you the banned book box, which is just such a cool premium, is what they call them, right? It's a gift for donating. And it's got the mouse book in it that was banned by various school boards in the United States because, we don't have book Nazis here, right? We don't have Nazis in America. No. It also has The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, and it has Beyond Magenta, which is a teen book of teenagers telling their own stories of being transgender in the 21st century today. And we'll send you all three of the banned books for a $20 recurring donation. If you could do the whole thing at once, $240, that'd be great too. So give us a call at 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org, or text FSTV to 44321. And thank you. Zeke in Oregon.
Yeah, Randi, I sent you an email, which your screener seems to think you've seen. It has to do with a fellow in Russia named Aleksandr Dugin. Does that ring a bell for you?
Yeah, it's right in front of me, that article. This is it. See it? Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
All right. Have you? Well, if you've talked about it, I missed it. You may have talked about it already.
I didn't, but it's been in front of me all day. First, I had to get rid of all the numbers, right? And now this is the next thing in my pile. It's called, it's an article that was published by Raw Story, but it says, this dark and disturbing figure is advising Putin's inner circle. And it names Aleksandr Dugin as this fascist philosopher, sort of, as you're about to put it, Putin's Karl Rove, right?
Right. He is to Putin what Karl Rove was to George W. Bush. He's also been called Putin's Rasputin, which rolls off the tongue very nicely, and there's something to that. But it's really more like, but Mr. Putin is a sociopathic fascist thug, but he's not a real deep thinker. He depends on people like Dugin for that kind of thing. Mr. Dugin has written a book that is required reading in every Russian military academy, called Foundations of Geopolitics, in which he lays out a brief for Russian ambitions from, quote, Dublin to Vladivostok. This is much more than reestablishing what we think of as the Russian Imperium. They're going way beyond that. And the obliteration of Ukraine is just Act 1. And if we do not stop this in Ukraine with meaningful kinetic force, and a no-fly zone is just the beginning. We have to go in there with our Air Force and take out the artillery, the missile launchers, et cetera, et cetera. And which brings me to the other point I wanted to make. What's going on here is nuclear blackmail. The commentariat will not even say the words. It is nuclear blackmail, and you have to believe that Mr. Putin, who, as you say, does not have any use for human life, but he does have use for his own life, and he does understand that he's not going to be able to reestablish the Russian Imperium if he is dead and his country is a pile of radioactive ashes, which it will be if he attacks us with nukes. He knows this. He's not going to do that.
No, I don't think he is either. I don't think this is going to have anything to do with, fat boy or little boy or whatever. It's not that. We're not talking about that kind of a nuclear attack. The thing that he might actually pull out of his toy box are these tactical nuclear weapons, which, again, that would test the patience of the world. You would think that chemical, biological, or nuclear of any type would be the red line. And so it seems to me that is what NATO is waiting for Putin to cross any of those red lines. And that's why the talk of chemical weapons, the talk of biological weapons, and the talk of tactical nuclear weapons, smaller nuclear weapons, is something that he could talk all day about. But if he pushes that button, if he pulls that tool out of his toy box, and he does any of those things, you would think, and this is where we are, Zeke. It's, up to me and you and the rest of this audience and people that are, paying attention now to this craziness that, has presented itself to us. It's going to be up to us. Like, what is the red line and what's the proper response when that red line is crossed if Vlad believes he's losing?
Well, the red line got crossed today, Randy, if I may say, when he deliberately bombed a theater in Mariupol where 1,000 women and children were seeking shelter, and they're all going to die. They're dying right now in real time. If that doesn't cross the red line, I'm sorry. I don't know what does.
Well, bombing the other 23 hospitals or taking 400 hostages from Mariupol, you would think that that's crossing the red line. But apparently the red line is closer to nuclear, biological, and or chemical weapons and not closer to bombing hospitals or, maternity wards, right? It's not. Because we've seen that already. In the first 20 days, we saw 24 hospitals. We saw pregnant women. We saw, hostage taking. We saw starvation tactics, siege warfare. We saw civilians being targeted after being told this is a safe corridor for escape. And, we're going to observe a ceasefire now. Go ahead and go. And then just shelling them randomly, just killing them anyway. We saw a rocket go down the street and kill a mother and 2 children when they thought that they had safe passage rules in play. So I guess the red line that we're looking at has nothing to do with those kinds of war crimes, and it has much more to do with the chemical, biological, and nuclear. We hope. Because I've watched lots of red lines being crossed and nothing happening.
Yeah, because you have a pathetic, weak old man in the White House who operates on the basis of fear, weakness, and denial. And I'm just saying, Randy, if we don't stop this madness, we have the finest Air Force and the finest naval Air Force on the planet. We have spent trillions of dollars on this, and if we don't use it now, when we need to use it, look what's going to happen here. He's going to obliterate Ukraine. Then he's going to double down on taking down American democracy this fall, and in 2024, he has a very good shot at putting a fascist in the White House. That fascist will take us out of NATO. Europe will be toast. America will be toast. We will all be living in a fascist hell. We have the opportunity to stop this now in Ukraine. Wesley Clark, our very fine general and former Supreme Commander of NATO, has said this is the place to do it. This is where the terrain favors us. We have a superb fighting force on the ground. Oh, and one more thing. By what magic does the nuclear blackmail cease to function when he attacks a NATO country, which he is going to do?
But that's what Biden is waiting for. It's not that Biden is weak. It isn't. It's that he understands the world really well. And he knows he can't give anything to Putin that Putin could exploit to his benefit and win back the support of his people that have left him. That's what's going on. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.